Hi everyone, I'm Miss Briana from the Hopewell Branch Library, and welcome to the Author Study Program. Each week this summer we've been looking at different children's book authors, and some of the authors that we've already looked at include Sarah Varon, Dan Yacarino, Dan Gutman, Amy Dykman, Laura Numeroff, and Drew Daywalt. Today's featured author is Annie Barrows. Here's a picture of her from her website, and you may know her because she is the author of the well-known series Ivy and Bean. But first, let me tell you a little information about Annie Barrows. She is an award-winning author who has written books for all ages. And she was born in San Diego, California, and she graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, where she studied medieval history. After graduating from college, Ms. Barrows became an editor, editing books on a wide range of topics. And after she had edited a couple hundred books, she decided that she could probably write one herself. So she went to writing school. And after writing several books for adults, she decided that she'd like to write for children. So let's look at some of the books that she wrote for children. First one I'm going to show you today is called What John Marco Saw. It's written by Annie Barrows and the illustrations are by Nancy Lemon. And here's a summary of the book. Little John Marco is a keen observer of his world, but nobody listens to him, that the tree in the yard is falling down. You have to read the book to find out what happens. And this is a great book for preschoolers and the whole family. Let's look at some of the illustrations. I love this one. Here's John Marco digging for worms. Let's see. Oh. Here's John Marco and his cat. And you can find this book at the library in the picture book section. So a new series that she just published this year, this is the first book, is called The Best of Iggy. And this book is about 9-year-old Iggy, and it tells about 3 times that he gets into trouble, and 2 of which he does not regret, and 1 for which he is very, very sorry. And this book is very funny, and the illustrations are also wonderful. It kind of captures the spirit of Iggy. And later this year, the second book in the series will be published, and that one's called Iggy is Better Than Ever. So look for that. And the first Iggy book in the juvenile chapter section at the library. Now, Annie Barrows also wrote books for older readers, for children in grades 3 to 6, I'd say. And the first one's called The Magic Half, and the second one is called Magic in the Mix. I'm just gonna give you a little summary of the first one. It's about 11-year-old Mary, who feels left out in her family, which has 2 sets of twins and her, until she travels back in time to 1935 and discovers Molly, her own lost twin, and brings her back to the present day. So this is a really fun book full of lots of adventures, and it's a time travel book that the whole family could read together. And the second book, Magic in the Mix, this one is about how the magical house sends Molly and Mary back in time again to the Civil War era. And when you read this book, you'll find out lots of history about that time period, and you'll also read about lots of fun adventures that Mary and Molly get in together. So you can find both those books in the juvenile section of the library. And now let's look at the Ivy and Bean series. So I know that you've probably heard of the Ivy and Bean series, but did you know that there are 11 books in the series? And also that the Ivy and Bean books have been translated into 14 languages. And in 2013, the Ivy and Bean, the musical, premiered in the San Francisco Bay Area. So this is just the first book, but I have some of the other books here. I'm going to show you the covers. I don't have all of them, but I have a number of them. And these books are really fun. The illustrations are by Sophie Blackall. Let's take a look at some of those illustrations. Let's see. Oh, let's see, we can find one. Here's another one. So you can find these also in the juvenile chapter book section of the library. So now what we're gonna do is that earlier this summer, Annie Barrows and Sophie Blackall took turns reading aloud the first book of Ivy and Bean. So we're gonna listen to Annie Barrows read the first chapter, and afterward I will show you her website where you can find some great activities and more information about her books. So I'll see you in a bit.
Hey kids, I'm Annie Barrows, which means I am the author of Ivy and Bean. That's my name right there. This proves that I wrote all of the words in the books. And over here is the name Sophie Blackall. Sophie draws all the pictures in the books. And Sophie and I have decided that we want to do a read aloud. We want to read the whole book of Ivy and Bean. I'll start with the first chapter, then she'll read the second chapter. Bing, bang, bing, bang, bong, until we're all finished with the whole book. So, I'm sure it won't surprise you to learn that we are going to start with the first chapter today. Maybe you want to go get your book so you can read along. In case you want to go get the book so you can read along, I'll just sit here and talk for a minute. Like, I'll talk about the things that you can see behind me on the shelf. You can see an package of Ivy and Bean books. You can see a bunch of other grown-up books. You can see a little fruit friend I have. You can see some other books I wrote behind me. Oh, are you back? Good. Okay, are you ready? Okay, we're going to start with the first chapter. I'll show you what it looks like. Chapter 1, No Thanks. Before Bean met Ivy, she didn't like her. Bean's mother was always saying that Bean should try playing with the new girl across the street, but Bean didn't want to. She's 7 years old, just like you, said her mother. And she seems like such a nice girl. You could be friends. I already have friends, said Bean. And that was true. Bean did have a lot of friends. But really, she didn't want to play with Ivy because her mother was right. Ivy did seem like such a nice girl. Even from across the street, she looked nice. But nice, Bean knew, is another word for boring. Ivy sat nicely on her front steps. Bean zipped around a yard and yelled. Ivy had long, curly red hair pushed back with a sparkly headband. Bean's hair was black, and it only came to her chin because it got tangled if it was any longer. When Bean put on a headband, it fell off. Ivy wore a dress every day. Bean wore a dress when her mother made her. Ivy was always reading a big book. Bean never read big books. Reading made her jumpy. Bean was sure that Ivy never stomped in puddles. She was sure that Ivy never smashed rocks to find gold. She was sure that Ivy had never once in her whole life climbed into a tree and fallen out. Bean got bored just looking at her. So when her mother said she should play with Ivy, Bean just shook her head. No thanks, she said. You could give it a try. You might like her, said Bean's mom. Next train for boring is leaving now, yelled Bean. Her mother frowned. That is not very nice, Bean. I was nice. I said no thanks, said Bean. I just don't want to, okay? Okay, her mother sighed. Have it your way. So, for weeks and weeks and weeks, Bean didn't play with Ivy. But one day, something happened that changed her mind. That is the end of Chapter 1. If you want to read Chapter 2, you'll have to tune in over at Sophie Blackall's page.
Hi again. I hope you enjoyed listening to Annie Barrows read from Ivy and Bean. I know I did. Now let's take a look at her website. So you can find our website at anniebarrows.com. And on the front page here, you'll see that there's 2 entries into the website. You can either go in the grown-up side or the kids side. So today, we're gonna go in through the kids side. Now, on this first page, you could scroll down and you could take a path and look at all the different books that she's written for children and young adults. And I'm gonna go up to the menu at the top and scroll down, and first I'm gonna go to the Best of Iggy. And on each of the pages of her books, you can find information about Annie Barrows. There are reviews about the book that she is showing, and there's an interview with Annie Barrows related to the book. Now on this page about the Best of Iggy, if you scroll down a little, there's a video of Annie Barrows reading from the Best of Iggy, and then further down there's a book trailer that you could watch about the book. I thought those were really fun. Now we're going to go to the Ivy and Bean page. Here again, there's information about Ivy and Bean, information about the series, reviews and awards, information about Annie Barrows, and an interview with Annie. In addition, there are crafts and ideas that you can try at home. There's information about the Pancake Court Museum, which is featured in the books. And there's information about all the books that are available in the series and other links, including a link to the website of Sophie Blackall, the illustrator of these books, in addition to the publisher Chronicle books and information about the designer of the website. So all good stuff. Now we're going to go to the Magic Half page, because on this page what I thought was interesting is that there's interesting stuff about twins that you could read about, in addition to all the reviews and information about Annie Barrows and an interview. Now, on the Magic in the Mix page, because it has the children going back in time to the Civil War era, here you'll find more history about that period, and it features a lot of the people who were featured in the book. It shows pictures and information about what was happening in their town at that time. So it's definitely something worth looking at when you read the books. So I hope you had fun today learning about Annie Barrows, and I just wanted to say thank you to Annie Barrows for providing us with a video of her reading aloud from her book. And again, if you wanted to find out more about Annie Barrows, you can visit her website at anniebarrows.com. I hope you'll join us for more author studies this summer, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye!